How are you doing everyone, and welcome back to the Learn a Driver classroom. My name is Anthony and today we're going to be talking about anticipation and reaction to hazards. Alright, so what does that mean? So first of all, a hazard is something that makes you change speed, change course or change direction. And there's three different types of hazard. There's stationary, moving or environmental. Now I'm going to get back to that in 1 second. First of all, I want to explain this: anticipation and reaction. This is what we cover in EDT number 6 and also number 7. Them two lessons go hand in hand. Number 6 is anticipation and reaction to hazards, and number 7 is sharing the road. So these two lessons are very important. So anticipation means trying to predict what's going to happen. How we do that is we scan the road ahead. We're always looking up the road for potential hazards. And the reaction part of that means, what are you doing about the hazard? The trick is action now rather than later. So first I'm going to talk about a stationary hazard that would make you change speed. That will be something like a traffic light, a speed bump, a zebra crossing, a narrow gap when you're driving, something that would make you slow or stop. So traffic lights can be tricky. So there's a few different types of traffic lights. Sometimes you will see traffic lights that are just for pedestrians only. So like, you usually see these around shopping centres and stuff. And usually what happens is, when a pedestrian presses the button to sort of turn the green man on, usually the amber light comes on straight away. So when you're driving down the road, you have to anticipate this by, you're looking up the road, you can see a set of pedestrian traffic lights, you see someone coming over and pressing the button. So you're saying to yourself, right, I can see that pedestrian, she pressed the button there. What could happen is this light could go amber. So you have to anticipate this, and by reacting by just coming off the accelerator, alright? We don't need to brake yet because the light is still green. We don't brake at a green light, but the trick is we come off the accelerator. Alright, so we're just driving up or off the accelerator. If it's still green, continue on, you're grand. But if it changes to amber, then that's when you're on the brake, and then it's a nice smooth stop. It's the same if you're driving up to a junction and the light has been green for it looks like a few minutes now. Chances are by the time you get to it, it's going to be amber or red. So you're anticipating that. You're saying, right, I'm driving up here, that light has been green for a while. As you approach, you come off the accelerator, and then if it's still green, as I said, keep going. But if it changes to amber, it's a much smoother stop, because you're off the accelerator, you're just on the brake and you stop at the line. So this is your driving test at the end of the day. This all has to be smooth. We don't want to be doing any harsh acceleration or braking. Think about the tester as being your nanny in the car, and she has a hot cup of tea in her hand. So anything sharp will make her lean forward or back. It's the same when we're driving. Everything has to be smooth. No harsh accelerating or braking. So it's the exact same for speed bumps. We have to be looking up the road ahead, and we have to anticipate the speed bumps. We don't want to fly up to a speed bump, then harsh on the brake and then hitting the bump too fast. Instead, we're looking up the road, we anticipate the bump. Once we get close, we ease off, slowly brake, and then it's nice and smooth over the bump. If you hit a bump too fast, or you brake harshly because you see it late or you're reacting late, that will be a grade 2 for reaction to hazards. It's the same principle for the zebra crossing. If you're driving towards a zebra crossing, we don't fly up the zebra crossing just because we see no pedestrians. We kind of ease off a bit. Once we know it's clear, we can proceed slowly through it. But if we ease off and we see a pedestrian moving towards it, that's when we're on the brake and it's a much smoother stop. So now we're going to talk about a stationary hazard that might make you change course. This will be something like a car parked on the left, or any object on the road, or anything that just makes you move. So again, the trick with that is we have to anticipate this by looking up the road. If we see a car parked on the left, that's when the trick is action now, if it's safe to do so. We don't want to drive all the way up to a car parked on the left and then stop and then move around it. The trick here is, provided it's safe to do so, of course, see the car, mirror, and move out nice and early. Again, action now rather than later. In my next video, I am going to be talking about when to signal around parked cars and when not to. That can be confusing, so I'm going to keep that for a separate video. And last but not least, a stationary hazard that would make you change direction would be something like a left turn, a right turn, a roundabout. It's the same thing. If we know we're turning left or right or whatever, we're not heavy on the accelerator, get to the turn, harsh on the brake, trying to change gear. Again, it has to be smooth. Think about your nanny again. We drive up, once we know we're turning, we could be easing off, doing our mirror signal position slow, look, but it's nice and smooth slowing up to the corner or the roundabout. It has to be smooth. So now we're on to a moving hazard that would make you change speed, alright? These are the trickiest, alright? So that would be something like a pedestrian crossing the road in front of you, or a car pulling out in front of you on a junction, a dog running across the road. Anything that's moving that comes in front of you is a moving hazard. So loads of people lose marks for doing this, alright? So if a pedestrian crosses the road in front of you, you have to anticipate this, so you have to show the tester that first of all I can see the pedestrian, and second that I'm reacting to the hazard by slowing with the brake. If the pedestrian crosses the road and they're close to you, stop. You have to stop, alright? If they're a little bit further up the road, you have to slow. Or if they're a little bit further up the road again, it's okay just to come off the accelerator. Either way, you have to show the tester you can see them and you're reacting by doing one of them. Even if you know the pedestrian will be across the road by the time you get to them, it doesn't matter. You still have to show them that you're reacting to the hazard by easing off or touching the brake. Alright? Even if the pedestrian shouldn't have crossed the road in front of you, if they just ran out in front of you, you have to react. We don't drive towards a pedestrian crossing the road. Alright? It's dangerous and you could get marked harsh for that. It's the same if you're driving down the road and you're on a straight road and a car pulls in front of you. So say if they want to turn right in front of you. Again, you're anticipating this. Usually you know by looking at somebody whether they're going to pull out in front of you or not. If you think they're going to, that's when you're saying, I think that taxi's going to pull out in front of me. You're easing off the accelerator. Once they do it, you're on the brake. Again, depending how far away they are. If you're pretty close to them, brake, you want to press the brake. If they're a little bit further away, just touch the brake lightly. If they're far enough away, just come off the accelerator. But again, the tester wants to see you anticipating it and reacting it. If you think they're going to pull out, the tester will definitely think they're going to pull out. So just make sure, reaction, alright? And so this is the same when we see someone jogging, or it looks like somebody's rushing, or they're in a hurry somewhere, or even that they're not even paying attention, whatever. You kind of know by looking at pedestrians. When you're driving along, say if you're driving behind a jogger, for instance, you know nowadays they have these big earphones on now. They haven't got a clue what's happening around. So if you're driving behind a jogger and you can see that they're kind of drifting over towards the edge of the path onto the road, you're anticipating this by saying, I think this fella's going to run out in front of me. You're easing off a little bit. Once they come out onto the road, you're on the brake, alright? They're going to just run out in front of you. If the jogger, say, turns around, looks at you driving and stops running, then it might be okay for you to kind of proceed. But you have to make sure that they've seen you first and they have stopped, because if not, they're just going to run out in front of you. So that's very important with the anticipation side of things. Now, another type of hazard would be environmental. This will be something like snow or ice, dense fog, heavy rain, or whatever, just the ground being wet. Just imagine if you were on the motorway and the speed limit was 120 kilometers an hour and it was icy outside, you probably wouldn't go 120. The same if it was dense fog, you wouldn't be going the speed limit, you would have to ease off. Now, you wouldn't do your driving test in these conditions, but you would do them if it was raining out. So if it's wet or it's raining out in your test, the tester would expect you just to ease off a little bit. Again, remember, it's double the following distance and nearly double the braking distance, so always leaving extra space. Alright, so that's it. That's the video on reaction to hazards. I hope you enjoyed it and you got some tips from it. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the new ones. And yeah, we'll see you in the next classroom.